Doc Bruce Banner, belted by Gamma Rays, turned into the Hulk.
Ain't he on Glamour Rays?
Wrecking the town with the power of a bull.
Ain't no monster clown who is as lovable
As ever-loving Hulk.
Are we back? I think we're back. Let's do this. Hey guys, I am back. As I said in my last video, it's been a rough summer, so we're diving back into comics, guys. We're diving hard, and I got quite a few to show you. But these are mail calls and just pickups over the summer. When I was back, when my mom passed away, I was back in my hometown, and that's in Alberta, Canada, and there's Calgary and Edmonton are two major cities there, well, major of Canada, and they both have great comic stores. Edmonton in particular, you can go to places like Ultimate Key Issue Comics. We have issues. There's a few more that are solely dedicated to back issues, and I couldn't tell you enough. It's almost worth a flight there to pick up stuff. I'm not saying a lot of this came from there, but just been picking up, hitting places with my buddy Rich out in Alberta, just having a great time. This all comes from that. Just whenever he saw me kind of moping, he'd just grab me and throw me in his truck, and we just go comic picking. And I gotta say, it worked. It helped a lot. And you get to enjoy the fruits of my labor. So why don't we start with Metal Man #1. This is a really forgotten book. It's not a particularly high grade. I'd put it in a 5.0, maybe 6. It's a nice bright cover. I really love this book. I love the showcase covers that were all the Zipatone, gray tones and stuff. A lot of the Metal Men issues have great covers. This one's not the best cover, but it's #1, so that's why you pick it up. Metal Man is just that forgotten series, I just dig it. There's no reason to pick this up other than you just dig it, and I just dig it. Here's an oddball one. G.I. Joe Special #1. This is a good book. It's kind of, everyone thinks McFarlane drew the cover. He did not. Some guy named Goster and Cablish did. But he did the artwork inside, which is kind of interesting. It's a reprint from something they didn't use. I think that's what it is. But it's actually used to be a really tough book to get. It's not super tough to get anymore since, the internet. But I remember you couldn't find this anywhere for so long. But I love that cover. Big fan. This is a really nice copy. I'm very happy with this copy. I probably should get it graded at some point to add to my Joe collection, because I do love me some Joe. Because I have a 9.8 21 and a 9.8 #1. And I'd love to get a 9.8 in that. And also the 155, I'd love to get a 9.8 in as well. I picked up another Nova #1 locally. It's a nice shape. It's it's quite bright actually. I'm quite a fan of this book. I'm always on the hunt for a 9.8. I do not have one. All I've got is a bunch of 9.6s, which I'm not unhappy with, but man, do I want a 9.8. I thought I had one actually. I don't know how I thought that, but I don't. Just 9.6s. So I really need to just buck up and buy one if I want to kind of add to that, #1s from the 70s, 9.8s I have. I'm kind of collecting that way. It's not cheap, but it's happening. But I do love picking these up when I see them for a deal. This one was cheap. It has a little problem with the back cover, but it's nothing that would take it out of the 9s. I think it's probably going to come back a 9.2, 9.4. But I love it. Nova, man. Come on, it's Nova. And if, they're saying he's coming to the MCU. I heard that's a thing. So, if that's the thing, that's a great book to have. I don't know if you guys have seen the prices on Eternals lately. They're really starting to twist up. And I'm starting to notice these are too. This is kind of like a sister book to it. Or brother book, I guess. They seem to always be in line with each other or very close to one another. And this thing doesn't even have a movie yet, or even a trailer, or even an announcement of anything, and it's at that price. I can't imagine what's going to happen when they actually get one. This is an oddball book. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. It's a pretty cool book. It's Knight Rider #1. It's a Western book. there's hints out there that the Marvel universe might have some Western stuff, probably on Hulu, because they do own a lot of characters. Rawhide Kid, Two Gun Kid, Knight Rider. They own Knight Rider. So, you know, every so often I'll snag one if I see it, and they're cheap, man. Like, I think I got this for $15, and it's in really nice shape. I have a couple of these. Actually, a buddy of mine, Rich, Big Revy Comics in Calgary, just stumbled across two like near mint copies for I think they paid him to take them away. I'm kidding, but not really. It was that good of a deal. So I think that's a cool book. This book I've shown before. I don't have any CGC copies, but I'm just a huge fan of this. It's FF33. First things first, that cover. It's just FF covers, man. Those Kirby FF covers. They put a photo in it too, which I think is pretty cool. I love that kind of stuff. I think there's a few. Submariner's got a couple of those, and Daredevil, and I just love that photo cover stuff that Kirby was playing with. This is the first appearance of Atuma, who is a really great bad guy. I think he's got a great look, and I think he has a future. But I don't really care, actually. This book is an oddball book, and the fact that you can get it for nothing if you go look at it. It's a very forgotten book, and I'm starting to notice recently people are starting to tune into it. There's probably many reasons for that, but I just pick them up once in a while if I see them for a deal, just because they are so cheap. You gotta be careful doing that too, because you end up with a lot. Like, I think I have 6 or 7 of these things. Is that too many? I don't know. If it becomes a giant, huge book one day, it is never too many. But if it isn't, it's too many. So I don't care. It's awesome. Here's one I do have too many of. Talking about too many. Thor 134. I have a lot of these. This is one of those books that's I've been picking up forever. Also with the bad guy in it, going to be in the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie. We're in for a treat for that. That'd be cool. That's the word on the street, that he's going to be the big baddie. And hey, man, it's Thor 134. It's another Kirby cover. And I think I mentioned earlier on another video, I'm all about Kirby covers right now from Thor. Cheap and beautiful and awesome. This one isn't so cheap. This one is the one of the keys in Thor. It's getting pricey. Even mid to low grades raw are starting to, really get up there. So you got to be careful. But this presented really well. It was I got it for about 50% of what the market asks for. So I'm not sad. I'm not sad about that. I would do that every day of the week. This is an interesting book. I've never owned this book, and I don't know why, because I love the run. And I think everyone loves this run, but it's Daredevil 197. It's the first appearance of Lady Deathstrike, or I think it is. I think that's what it is. Anyway, this book is in crazy shape. Like, if I don't get a 9.8 out of this, I'm gonna vomit. Like, I just stop CGCing. If I don't, I probably will just never show that book to anyone and pretend I never got it. But this book is incredible shape, and it's a pretty cheap one. It's starting to become a bit of a key. People are interested in this book. I'd snag it before it pops any higher. You can still find it in the back issue bins, not on the walls, which is nice. So take a look at it. It's a good book. And the Daredevil run's just so cool. If you're still kind of behind on your reading, you could really do worse than reading the entire Miller run of Daredevil and then start moving into further books. It was just such a great era for Daredevil. It was wonderful. This is done by Klaus Janson. No, it's not Miller. I don't even know who's writing it, actually. But we're going to move on to the next book. This one's a little bit bigger. I'm pretty happy with this one. I picked this up. There was a comic show in Calgary. It was somebody bought, some dealers bought some stock, and we all had to wear masks and cover ourselves in alcoholic alcohol to make sure we were clean, and we went through about 80,000 books, and it was mostly dollar bin stuff, but they had a little area where there was keys, and I was able to snag, most of their pricing, by the way, was ridiculous, but I was able to snag this one for a pretty decent price, and I just, you know, I just adore that cover. I got another one over here, a 5.0. I don't really have a high grade one, and that's okay, because it's, you know, it's getting pricey. Excuse me, COVID cough. But it's a nice book. It's a great book. It's First Appearance of a Nihilist. Actually, it's also the first appearance of Franklin Reed, or Richards. Sorry, Franklin Richards, who is the Richards, Reed Richards' son. I don't know if that's going to mean something, but it might. So anyway, First Appearance of a Nihilist, very cool. And it's one of these books that has been slowly popping as, you know, every year. I hope it keeps going. So yeah, big fan of this book. I hope you are too. Here's a neat book. Everyone loves Hercules. I do too. I think I have a first appearance of him back here somewhere. Back here? Yeah, right there. Is it there? No, I can't even see. But I love Hercules. I think he's really cool. When I was a kid, one of the first series I ever collected, the full series, was the limited edition or limited run of Hercules, the miniseries. And man, I thought it was the coolest. And I never really followed him past that. But as a kid, I thought he was the greatest. So whenever, you know, I pick up things like Champions #1, that's a great Hercules cover. And years ago, I would pick up the Journey into Mystery annual one whenever I saw it, because back in the day, it was worthless, and I would pick them up for $5 each. And I somehow got a little stack of them, which are all at CG, we're going to CGC. And it's a great book. It's a great book, and I do think that we're going to see more of this big bastard soon to come. I think in modern years they've turned him. Well, I don't know if he always was, or they've made him gay. He's a gay character now, which is cool because it gives him an interesting depth that wasn't there before. For, you know, such a, you know, a stereotypical big bruiser of a guy, it definitely gives him a different angle. But hey, man, I'm into it. I'd like to see some more Hercules. I'd love to see it in the movies. That'd be cool. I'd love to see him fight Thor. That'd be even cooler. But we'll see, you know, slowly but surely. Anyway, I highly recommend this. It's a very underrated book. It's you can pick this up for a decent price these days. And I don't think there'll ever be a Champions movie. But you know what's pretty cool? The Champions #1 book. And that cover, you just can't beat it. Anyway, let's move on. What do we got next? Ooh. We were talking earlier about Western books with that Knight Rider. Well, I got another one. Gunhawks #1. I think it's a really cool book. I have had a very difficult time finding this book in anything over about a 6.0. I know my buddy Greg Gurr's been looking for a very high grade one, like a 9.4, 9.6, with very little luck. That may have changed recently, that I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it hasn't. You can get it, obviously, if you have the money, but it's kind of fun to find them in the wild. And this is definitely one of those books that is not the easiest book to find in the wild, simply because people don't really collect a lot of Western Marvels, and I think they should. I think they're great. I don't read them as much as I probably should, but I think I'm going to start reading them again. See what they're like. You never know. I might fall in love with them. Or they might be shit. I don't know. But that cover's pretty cool. Anyway, it's a good addition to the collection. Here's another one I stumbled across. This one is another of that era. Early 70s, bronze, Jungle Action #1. I don't know why I bought this. I just thought it was cool. I like window box Marvels, and I like #1s. This is both. And that cover is pretty cool. I don't really have a lot to say about this book because, quite frankly, it's a pretty boring book. But I tried to flip through it, and I think I fell asleep or drooled on the book. So yeah, it's pretty bad. But that cover's pretty cool, and I guess it looks good when I'm flipping through my collection. But if anyone was to ever want it, I would definitely let it go easily because I would, since I don't love it, I'd rather it go to someone who does love it. But I'll hold on to it for a little while and see what happens with it, and we'll go from there. I was talking earlier about going to a comic store and somebody selling me some books out of their house that I ran into. This was one of those books. I basically bought like a stack for like $100, and this was in it. This is a big fan favorite of mine. It's Hulk 162. It's the first appearance of Wendigo. Back in the 80s, this character was the tits. I don't know why. He just was. I dug him. I think, he's a Wendigo. He was in the Hulk 181 area. I remember that was a thing. He reminded me of Sasquatch and Alpha Flight, which I thought was cool when I was like 8 years old. I just always wanted to own this book. I never ever acquired this book. And my buddy Matt, Abbotsford comics fan on IG, he bought one recently in CGC shape. It's a beautiful copy. And he got it, we just sort of send texts to each other of books we got and just like, hey, check this out. And I was so jealous of this book. And I had to get my own copy. And it just happened that I found one that way. And I'm pretty happy with it. I would like to upgrade it because it's not the greatest copy I've ever seen. I'd say it's like a 7.5 to an 8. Probably needs a press too. But that's not too bad. I'm happy. I wouldn't mind getting like a 9.4 if possible. But I'm leaving the best for the last. This is a book I've wanted since I was a child. Like, I've always wanted this book. And even when I was a kid, those books when you were a kid that you couldn't get because they were $14 or $20 because when you were a kid you had $3 and that was so much more money. Well, it's always been that book for me. It's like when as I got older, it just was just a little out of my price range every time, or it wasn't I wasn't focusing on it. I was focusing on other things, and it just always kind of fell by the wayside. And that was that's like 35, 40 years of collecting. And I've never come across a copy for myself. And this is a classic cover too. And I wish I could do a drum roll here, but I can't. But it's Batman 227. Look at that cover. Neil Adams cover. I think it's a homage cover to Detective Comics 32, I want to say, which is in itself an amazing cover. But look at that cover. That is a cool cover. It's always been the coolest Batman cover I could think of. It's always been the book I've always wanted. And in recent years, it's gotten quite expensive. But Big Revy Comics out of Calgary, he and I went to an antique mall in Calgary, just out of the blue. And I was flipping through a box of just periodicals and comics, and guess what I found? This thing. It's not mint. It's not a 9.4, but it's probably in the 6.5 range. I'm guessing 6.5-ish. I'm very happy with a 6.5 in this. Considering the price I paid, I probably paid a 2.0 price or less. I'm very happy with this. This is one of those books that I always wanted to own, and here it is. I own it now. But that's it for today, guys. I have plenty more pickups to show you guys. Just lots of books. Not a lot of CG stuff, but again, that's coming down the road. But we got a lot of fun spec books, some Silver Age, some Bronze Age, and a bunch of moderns. Anyway.
See you later.